Good morning, children. Today we will begin with the Act 1, Scene 2 of The Tempest. Earlier we had done Act 1, Scene 1, which happened in the sea where the ship met a tempest and the ship was wrecked and everybody was in water. So we continue with Scene 2 from this point. Now, first we will discuss what happens in Act 1, Scene 2. Actually a summary, and it will be in only 20 points. Prospero's island is featured in this scene, and we see in the first part Miranda and Prospero are talking to each other. Miranda requests Prospero to stop the tempest and have mercy on the people on board. Prospero assures Miranda that no harm has been done to them. Prospero tells Miranda the story of how they came to this island. Then, in this scene, Prospero asks if Miranda remembers anything of her past. Miranda then is put to sleep. Ariel appears and reports that everyone except the sailors have jumped out of the ship, and these passengers have been dispersed in groups around the island. Ariel reminds Prospero that he had promised freedom once Ariel finishes his job, and he expects Prospero to free him. Prospero gets angry and reminds Ariel how he had rescued Ariel from his imprisonment in a pine tree by the witch Sycorax. Prospero sends Ariel as an invisible spy to the shipwrecked men on the island. Miranda and her father go to visit the slave Caliban, son of the witch Sycorax. Caliban comes out of his cave cursing Prospero for taking over the island which had belonged to his mother. Prospero calls him a liar and says he tried to take care of Caliban, but until Caliban tried to rape Miranda. Miranda, Prospero, and Ferdinand meet on the island. Miranda has never seen another man besides her father and Caliban, and she is immediately spellbound by the handsome Ferdinand. Miranda and Ferdinand fall in love. Prospero asks if Ferdinand is a spy who has come to take over the island. Miranda is distressed by her father's lack of pity. Pity here because it is believed by Ferdinand that he has lost his father. Prospero, aside, reveals he is merely testing Ferdinand, fearing that winning Miranda too easily will cost Ferdinand to value her less. Prospero makes Ferdinand his slave. Miranda pleads with her father for mercy. Ferdinand is ready to be imprisoned and asks only if he might be able to look on Miranda once a day. With that, we begin with the text of The Tempest. So this is Act 1, Scene 2. The island before Prospero's cell. Now see, this scene can be divided into three main parts. First is Prospero's tale to Miranda. Second, the introduction of Ariel and Caliban. And third, the initial meeting of Ferdinand and Miranda. Now the scene begins. They are on the island, that is Prospero's island, in front of or before Prospero's cell. Enter Prospero and Miranda. Miranda, if by your art, my dearest father, you have put the wild waters in this roar. So she's saying, if by your art here refers to the art of magic, which was mastered by Prospero. So she's saying, if by your magic, my dearest father, you have put the wild waters in this roar, means you have raised this roar or storm with your magic. Allay them means put an end to them. Please put the storm to an end. The sky, it seems, would pour down stinking pitch, but that the sky, mounting to the welkin's cheek, dashes the fire out. The meaning is, it seems that the sky would rain down a flood of rain as black and stinking as pitch. The sea is rising so high as to strike against the face of the sky to put out the fire. Basically, she is describing the severeness of the tempest. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. So as she was watching the ship being destroyed, she was feeling sorry for the people who were there on the ship. So she says, I was also feeling bad. I have suffered. So I was feeling bad with those that I saw suffer, means the people whom I saw suffer in this tempest, I was equally feeling bad for them. A brave vessel who had no doubt some noble creature in her. So it is a brave vessel. The vessel here refers to the ship. The ship is very brave that it is fighting against the tempest. Who had means this ship had no doubt some noble creature in her, means this ship no doubt was carrying some noble people inside the ship. Dashed all to pieces. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. Dashed means wrecked, to break everything into pieces. Oh, the cry means their cry, did knock against my very heart. So when I heard their cry, I felt saddened, grieved, and hence she says, against my very heart. So she felt very sad. Poor souls, they perished. So the people who were there on the ship, she refers to them as poor souls. They perished. Perish means they disintegrated, they died. Had I been any god of power, means she says, I wish I was a god who had power, a powerful god. I would have sunk the sea within the earth or air, it should the good ship so have swallowed, and the frothtening souls within her. So she says, if I had been a god, a powerful god, I would have sunk the sea. I would have put the sea within the earth or air. Air means before. Before it here means the sea. Should the good ship so have swallowed, means had I been a powerful god, I would have sunk the sea inside the earth before it could swallow the good ship which was there on the sea. The frothtening souls within her, means which had these people in this ship. Now, fraught basically means to carry or to be filled with, laden. So this ship was carrying these souls which would have got swallowed with the ship into the sea. Prospero. Be collected means calm down. There's nothing to worry about. No more amazement means there is nothing to be upset of. Nothing to be alarmed of. Tell your piteous heart there is no harm done. Please tell your heart, which is full of pity for these people, that no harm has been done to these people. So Prospero basically says there's nothing to worry about. No harm has been done to the people who were there on the ship. We move on. Now Miranda says, "Oh, woe the day," means what a horrible day, because she just saw so many people suffer in the tempest, and probably she is under the impression that they all have drowned. Prospero, no harm means no harm has been done. I have done nothing but in care of thee. So he says, I have done, whatever I have done for you. Of thee, my dear one, thee, my daughter. So whatever I have done for you, my dearest one, my dearest daughter. I have done everything for you. Who art ignorant, who is ignorant of what thou art, means who is ignorant of who you are, what you are, who you are. So he's saying, whatever I've done it for you, my dear daughter, because you are ignorant and you don't know who you are. So now Prospero is going to tell Miranda about their past. Not knowing of whence I am means you also don't know who I am or what I am, nor that I am more better than Prospero, the master of a poor cell, and thy no greater father. So you don't even know me. You don't know that Prospero, you only know Prospero, who is the master of this poor cell. Cell here means the place in which he lives. And thy no greater father. So for you, Prospero is just another father. He is a common man. So you don't know who actually is Prospero. Miranda, more to know, did never meddle with my thoughts, means to know more did never come to my thoughts. I never thought there would be something more to know. Prospero, it is time I should inform thee further. So now the time has come. I should inform you the details. Lend thy hand means give me your hand. So Prospero continues, says, lend thy hand means give me your hand and pluck my magic garment from me, means and take off the magic robe or garment that I am wearing. So as he continues, Miranda moves forward and takes his garment and puts it on the floor, lays down his robe. Lie there, my art. So Prospero says, lie there, my art, means he's referring to the garment as his art of magic. He says, be there. I want to talk to my daughter. I don't want magic to interfere between us. So you be there alone, away from us. Then he addresses to Miranda. Wipe thou thine tears, means please wipe your tears. If you remember, Miranda had been sad because of the people who were there on the ship and had met the shipwreck. So he's saying, wipe thou thine tears, means wipe your tears. Have comfort, relax, settle down. the dire spectacle of the wreck which touched the very virtue of compassion in thee. Now the meaning is, the fearful sight of the shipwreck has aroused pity in you. I have with such provision in mine art. Provision means to, like, I have options, and with my options in my art I have so safely ordered that there is no soul, no, not so much perdition as an hair betide to any creature in the vessel, which thou hadst cry, which thou sawest sink. Sit down. So basically he means to say, no one in the wrecked ship had been hurt. Not even a hair was lost, which you saw with your own eyes as you saw the ship sink. So don't worry, nobody is hurt, no one is dead. So relax, please sit down. For thou must now know further. Because now you must know about your past, because it is time now. Miranda, you have often begun to tell me what I am. Means even earlier you had all started to tell me who I was, but you stopped and left me to a bottomless inquisition, and you left me with a suspense which was bottomless, concluding, stay not yet. And you would say stay not yet means, the entire speech means, you have often begun means you have earlier also told me that you are going to tell me about your past, our past rather, but you stopped and left me to a bottomless suspense. Inquisition means questions. What was there? What was my father going to say? Concluding, and you would say at the end, stay not yet. Prospero, the hours now come means the time has now come when I'm going to tell you the truth about your past. So we continue. So Prospero continues, the very minute bids thee ope thine ear means, the very minute means the time, the current time, that the time has come, the present time, or now. Bids means asks. The current time asks thee to open thine ears means now the time has come when you should open your ears and be attentive to what I am saying. Obey and be attentive. Obey what I order, that is to pay attention and listen, and be attentive mean be alert. Canst thou remember? Can you remember a time before we came onto this cell? So he is asking Miranda if Miranda can remember a time before they had come to this island. I do not think you canst means, he says, I do not think you will be able to remember, for then thou wast not out 3 years old means, because then you were not even 3 years old. So remembering things when you are 3 years old is difficult. So I don't think you will be able to remember of the period when we were not on this island or cell. Miranda, certainly sir, I can. So Miranda surprises Prospero by saying, certainly sir, I do remember certain things. Prospero, but what? By any other house or person of anything the image tell me that hath kept with thy remembrance. So Prospero says, what is that that makes you remember that time? It is in memory, or do you remember the house or any person? So he says, do you remember any house or person, or it is just about something from the memory? Hath kept with thy remembrance means hath remained with your remembrance, means is there something, some house, a person, or some old memories which is still there in your remembrance? Miranda, it is far off means it is a very hazy sort of a memory that I have, and rather like a dream than an assurance. So the memory is more of like a dream than being sure that yes, something like this was there. It was more like a dream. Probably it was like this, but she was not sure that it was like this. That my remembrance warrants. That my remembrance warrants means to prove. So she says that my remembrance proves means whatever I have as remembrance is more of like a dream rather than an assurance. Had I not 4 or 5 women once that tended me? So she asks a question to Miranda, to Prospero, that if she had 4 or 5 women who had once attended her, means attended means to take care of her. Prospero, thou hadst, yes, you had, and more, and you had even more, Miranda. But how is it that this lives in thy mind? So he's surprised. He says, how is it that this still is there in your mind? What seest thou else in the dark background of abyss of time? So he says, what else do you see in the dark background? Here, dark background means the past, and abyss, which is written here as abysm, means the depth of time. So what else can you see or can you recollect from the dark background, that is the dark past and the depth of time? If thou rememberest aught ere thou comest here. So he says, if you remember how we had come here, how thou camest here, thou mayest. So basically Prospero says that if you can recollect the things of the past, you may be able to recollect how we came on this island. Miranda, but that I do not. So Miranda says, no, I don't remember how we came to the island. Prospero. Now Prospero is telling Miranda about their past. 12 years since. So 12 years ago. So what is the age of Miranda? 12 plus 3. So that is around 15 years old. So currently Miranda is 15 years old. 12 years since. Miranda, 12 years since. Thy father was the Duke of Milan and a prince of power. So Prospero tells Miranda that 12 years ago I was the Duke of Milan and a prince of power. So Prospero tells Miranda that 12 years ago Prospero was the Duke of Milan and a powerful prince. In this, Miranda says, Sir, are not you my father? So she is confused. She has been seeing Prospero around her since her birth, and she doesn't remembers anything of the past of this from this point. So she says, so sir, are you not my father? Is someone else my father? Prospero, thy mother was a piece of virtue. Your mother was a person who had moral values.